Hey everyone, this little tutorial I think we're going to do something really basic but try to add some complexity to it. So we'll just be working with some boxes and some spheres. So let's jump into it, type in Grasshopper. I'm just going to type in box, not box, okay. Center box here. We could probably leave the dimension, let's just do like a 15 for all of them. We're going to rotate it so it looks almost like a diamond a little bit. So we'll type in rotate. Right click on A, go to degrees. I'm just going to type in 45 and rotate it. Let's do the XZ plane. Just like that. Maybe we'll rotate it one more time around the YZ plane. All the rest of these. There we go. Awesome. And then I'm going to type in scale in U. And we'll go to the Z-axis. Scale it 2 times the size in the Z. We could go higher. There we go. Give it kind of a crystal look. So we'll just hide all that stuff. Something like that. What we'll do from here is just type in sphere. We can leave it right here. Okay. And then we'll give that kind of some dimension of like 5. And then type in populate geometry. Okay. We'll give that a number of like 15 for now. We could add more, but at least leave it simple for now. And then what we need to do is find the normals, or the frame normals, so we can get some perpendicular or normal frames to that surface. So all I'm going to do is type in CP for closest point onto the surface. So those points go into the P, surface is the sphere, and then we need to evaluate the surface. And that'll give us our normals. Okay, so the UV point onto here, and then type in orient. We're going to orient our diamond, our crystal or diamond kind of geometry. We can leave the A empty because that's 0, 0, 0. Plug it into the frame. There we go. Now we kind of have a spiky object. We can hide all this stuff for now. Pretty cool. Okay, and then let's add a little bit of, so it's not all the same, just add a little bit of differences to each one of these. I'm going to just type in scale non-uniform. We'll just type in random for now. The number of random points can go into the 15 count. And we need to give the random plug a domain, so we'll construct a domain. And we'll go 122 for the largest. Copy and paste that up. Plug that R for our random there. Let's just randomly scale it in the X and the Y. That's with the constructed domain. Kind of some figures coming out of this, which would be pretty interesting. Let's just plug it into the Z. I guess we could have just done a regular scale now, but Y. Cool. Y. Let's turn down this one. Cool. Okay, and then let me think. Let's add some cuts in the center. So I'm just going to kind of line these up a little teeny bit. What we can probably do, take all of these here. Probably just duplicate the whole thing. I'm just going to move this down, bring all this up. Straight cuts. So, out all the rotates at the beginning. We're just going to orient a box to each one of the points. So I'm looking for slices. So we want to go, Z is going to be really long. Preset so it goes outside of our diamond shapes. Okay, let's do our Y longer as well. And then the Y will leave relatively small. Okay, and then let's go up to our intersect tab here. We'll do a Boolean difference. We're going to go A minus B, which is our slices. Give it a second. A moment here. We can hide all this. Start to see what this looks like. Rendered viewport. Cool. Pretty interesting. I wonder if we do a little extra detail. So we have kind of insets coming in here that get sliced as well. Go ahead and try that out. I might decrease the number and it might speed up our Grasshopper definition, obviously, as well. Okay, just gonna undo that. So from here, exact same thing. We'll copy and paste all of this down. This box, I'm going to turn it on so we can see kind of what we're doing. You know what? I'm going to hide all this. Now we can add the insets against the original crystal. Okay, so we have this one. I'm going to go to shaded. Okay, let's turn. This one might need different dimensions here. So we'll do 3 dimensions for this one. Boom. Come out. Kind of like that. Down our Z height can go up still. We'll bring down our Y. That should some really cool effects starting to happen there. Okay, now we can do, I'm going to hide this. Show this guy back on. Then we'll copy and paste this down again. And all we need to do is swap out this A for our new A. Let's give it a second. I should have turned down the points, but we'll just wait it out. Okay. Turn this down to like, let's just do 7 for now. It'll make it run quite a bit faster, less geometry. To swap this A out for our new scale inset. Give it a second. Oh, let's see if we can bake this all out. It's starting to look like. Maybe we'll increase the numbers again since we kind of checked it. Until you see he's all quite outside of everything. rotate randomly all the slices. Quite a bit more dynamic. Let's go back, undo. So these slices, instead of scale randomly, let's just delete that. Do rotate randomly. And we'll have to increase the number. Change this over to degrees. Rotate slices. And we need to increase these numbers on our random. So I'm just going to do 255 max. Take this out. And we can just copy and paste this up. Down to like 64, bring the maximum up to 683, plug it into here. You should have some pretty crazy variations there. So all these, like that. That layer there. And I'm doing that just because if we did a scale, some of these slices wouldn't go all the way through. We can hide our... Now we should have quite a few slices towards the center rather than the scaling. There we go. Like scratch marks everywhere. Pretty interesting stuff. Might want to increase one of our axes because it's not going all the way through yet. So just to do that, I'm going to turn off or just disable these for a moment. Just make sure our X is pretty far out there. We could probably keep the X and the Z the same. Far outside. I'm going to lower the amount there. Okay. We'll turn our booleans back on. Give it a moment. Take out our result. There we go. Pretty interesting. Yeah, it's actually quite cool. Pierce rock formation or something. And then maybe we'll increase the number of crystals that run through this. This is where it's going to get a little bit slower on everyone's machine, so you'll just have to kind of wait it out. Let's turn this back up to 15. We'll give it a moment to process. Take this out. That's pretty interesting right there. So I think that's it for the Grasshopper portion. One thing we might want to do, just to speed stuff up, type in join mesh, and then we can also keep it just two models. Okay, I'm just going to do the same for the bottom here. Join the mesh. We'll hide these. We can bake these out. There we go. Here, this one's the inset, I believe. We'll just put it on a layer. And then we'll put our other one on a layer. I'm thinking this might be kind of a rolling landscape. This side here is probably the most interesting. This angle for this one. So I might just rotate it this way, rotate it this way. That's cool. Obviously, this is super subjective, but this way, pull it off quite well. Maybe we'll have a few of these. This one. One in the far distance. Just rotate that around. Maybe we'll put it on its end there. Composition, I think, will look nice. Let's keep. This one might be stuck in the ground. Okay. Almost look like graffiti forms or something. Stick that one further down. Bring this one a little bit lower. We'll increase the scale of this one. This is going to be I guess we'll be making it soon, but this is going to be kind of a hillside going down. Just join all these parts together, like by color. Do the same for the other material there. So we have two meshes, right? And all I'm going to do, like usual, type in bounding box, and I'm going to lock down our models, explode that out. This will be our landscape, the ground level of the landscape there. Like that. Bring it out just a hair more. Type in rebuild. We'll do 111, 111 for our points. Okay, so this one's the highest. We need to turn our points on. So brush select tool here. This will be tall hillside here. Okay. And we'll use the brush and brush it down through here. Just like that. Take care of the second one. Select that. Select again. Doesn't have to be a perfect downhill slope either. Bring it up to that level. Some. It's all right. We can bring those up. Problem. Just going to select these by mouse. Might be a little easier than the brush. Go. Just bring those up there. Great. And then this one is obviously on the lower half based on our bounding box. So we're just going to try to smooth it out just a bit. So if I just select all through here, turn that on. It doesn't have to be perfect. There can be kind of slopes in the landscape everywhere. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'm just going to bring that up just a bit. Maybe we'll have a hillside out here in the distance. Valley. So obviously this looks really, really rough. So what we were going to do is just smooth it all out. And smooth. It's pretty high. Arctic mode. Let's start to see what the render is going to look like. Might want to move the back model over just a bit. I think our view is going to be something kind of like this. Might want to bring that, shrink it down just a hair once we get there. So I think somewhat like this. That in just a bit though. And then from here, what I'm going to do is we're going to just copy this, have it in the background. Okay, we're going to turn our points on one more time. And all I'm going to do is make a layer to our landscape. Okay, so this can be kind of a wandering path. Get close to the model. Why I'm doing this, or why we copied the layer previously. Go off in the distance there. Okay, and all we're going to do is just lower that down. Our grass layer. If we just paste our previous, you notice it's overlapping everywhere. What we'll do is just make that our, let's just say mulch for now, which will be our soil. All we need to do is just drop it. Basically that'll give us kind of a walking path all the way through there. And you'll notice once we get to the rendering stages, the grass will kind of bleed into the soil there, which will make kind of a nice little detail. I'm just going to bring it up just a hair more. And that'll be it for our landscape. Okay, let's check our viewport one more time in our Arctic mode there. So this will be somewhat what it's going to look like. I might compositionally rotate this one. Just lock down our landscape. Give this one just a bit more of a heroic moment. So I'm going to hold Control Shift since these are all joined already. Rotate this just like so. This one I'm going to shift over, shift down. There we go. I think this is going to be our view. And we'll head over to Lumion. All right, so this part will speed up just a little bit. So all I'm doing here is just adding some materials to everywhere. So you can see where the path comes in and the grass is kind of fading in through there. I think I do a couple different material changes throughout this process here. So we're just going through customizing the map, all that stuff. Now we're going to add some trees, and I'm using clusters in this particular rendering just to speed up the rendering process quite a bit, just because it's going to be more background just kind of background music, so obviously there's not geometry there, and really speeds up the process. Next thing I'm doing is just adding in quite a few different vegetations through here, bushes and all sorts of stuff, since it's kind of like a rolling pasture through here. I think I added a little bit too many at the beginning, so I'll probably end up deleting a few out at the end there. Then a few more clusters just to fill out the space. I think I messed up here. Yep, so we'll take it out. Put it in 3 more clusters. Plus that adds kind of a nice density and kind of shadows throughout the entirety of the scene. Changing up a couple of the bushes there, just filling in some spots. Obviously, kind of a multi-green level rendering through here. Filling out the foreground. Now, I think I decided to put in a bunch of cows everywhere. And soon to behold, some of the cows need to be replaced and moved. And then just a dog kind of trotting through the pathway there. And of course, like every rendering, a few birds. Kind of level out the space. So here, just kind of picking out some views, adding in the realistic filter in Lumion. Kind of checking to see, you can see the cows in the foreground don't really add to the overall scene. So what I'm doing is just kind of moving stuff around, fixing the camera angles. And I added in a 2-point perspective to give it a little bit of an architectural feel. And of course, like I said, removing some plants and some cows just to open up the space a little bit, because we lose the actual pathway going through. Some areas up. There we go. Now we can start to see the pathway going down through there. Now we're just testing out the lighting. I think we're going to add some cows way out in the background just so we can see them and just give it a little bit of a hint of farm life there. Leveling out the scene. And we'll just change the lighting out just a little bit. Add some fog out in the distance, brighten it up. There we go. Nice little mist out in the background. Put a cow in the foreground again. And here we go. I think we're just going to add in a bush so the Rhino model meets some kind of vegetation at the ground there. I think we're going to come through and change one of the materials right here. Yep. So we're just going to add actual custom material map. I think I just chose some sort of metallic, rustic thing from my library really quickly. Change the scale up so we get some nice color variety through there. And it's not so tiled looking. And right through here, I think we're going to hit render. Save the name. Hit the go button. Render it out. And then we're going to be set for Photoshop after this. So through this space, basically we're just lighting some stuff up. Just doing the sky out, brightening up some areas. And of course adding some vignetting throughout the area here. And I think we are done. So thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. Talk to you guys soon.